The SBA will be getting a new administrator when Trump takes office next week. This is a huge deal for every single business in the US. In this quick video, I'll talk about the presumed nominee, give you a quick history of the major changes that have happened at the SBA over the past 5 years, and give my predictions on what may happen with the SBA in the coming years, especially under a new SBA administrator. If you're not subscribed yet, consider subscribing. It really helps this channel. Some of you may know I've done in-depth interviews with folks at the SBA. We're the leading voice on YouTube when it comes to SBA information. Subscribing to this channel allows us to continue to do what we're doing and get even better information for you. Promise it's worth it. Thanks in advance, and for liking this video so other entrepreneurs can get this information. Kelly Loeffler, former senator from Georgia, former businesswoman, is Trump's presumed nominee. If things proceed, she will have to go through a Senate confirmation hearing, but if all things go well there, she will take over as the new SBA administrator, following in the footsteps of Administrator Isabel Guzman and before that, Administrator Jovita Carranza. No matter how you look at it, the SBA and the administrators have had a massive impact on business owners across the country. The SBA helps businesses in 5 main ways. We're really only going to talk about one in this video, and that's funding, SBA loans, and disaster loans. But it's important to have the big picture of what the SBA does. Of course, they support during crises through their economic injury disaster loans. Of course, the COVID EIDL loans was the program 4 million businesses across the U.S. took advantage of. Around $500 billion was distributed. There were grants associated with that as well. The COVID EIDL loan was approved from the CARES Act back in 2020. Jovita Carranza was the administrator then. This was Trump's first term. She approved COVID EIDL loans up to $150,000. In the effort to get out lots of funding, there was a lot of fraud and waste for the COVID EIDL loans. The processes were not in place. That's been highly criticized. There's been reports about this, and of course, people are getting arrested and sentenced to prison for taking part in some of that fraud that happened in 2020 and of course going into 2021. Then the Biden administration came in, appointed a new administrator, Isabel Guzman. There was sentiment that the SBA wasn't doing enough to support businesses. So over the course of 2 years, and we had conversations directly with the SBA whenever these were happening, the administrator initiated a number of changes, including raising the loan limit to $500K, then $2 million, increasing the deferment period from 2 years to 30 months, and creating the hardship accommodation plan, allowing folks to drastically lower their monthly payments for 6 months at a time with the ability to renew for up to 2 years. Those are 3 of the main changes. There have not been changes as it relates to interest rates or EIDL forgiveness, even though we had the largest EIDL forgiveness petition in the US. But that demonstrates the power of the SBA administrator, what the SBA is authorized to do from a policy standpoint, and what they cannot do. For new funding, there needs to be new legislation signed into law. During Biden, Isabel Guzman made a lot of what can be seen as pro-business changes, in other words, more generous towards businesses to help try to prevent defaults, which may be the worst case scenario because the government isn't getting its money back. Business owners will have this default on their record. And there's a lot of COVID EIDL fallout still happening today, and this will continue to be an issue that I'll talk about in the coming years and months. What will Kelly Loeffler do when it comes to this program? And of course, regular EIDL disaster loans. And this is where I want to spend a minute on. We have been seeing these more and more every single year. The trends, of course, do not look good when we talk about hurricanes in the southeast, the flooding and the destruction that happens as a result from Florida up through the Carolinas, other natural disasters in Texas, and of course, wildfires in California. What we're seeing right now, the SBA has the ability to respond quick, get a federal emergency designation so they can approve funding, not free money, but loans for folks who may need some emergency help. I'll give a prediction on what Kelly Loeffler may do there in a second, but let me finish with the 4 other things the SBA can help with. Of course, there's advocacy and representation. So they're pushing for favorable policies for small businesses, like when they're going to Congress to ask for more disaster funding and giving a voice for entrepreneurs. Then there's government contracting. The SBA can help small businesses secure federal funding. There are set-asides for businesses of a certain size. To get federal contracts, the SBA can help with that. And education and training, often overlooked. A lot of you are busy trying to run or start your own business, but the SBA has a lot of those resources, from the SCORE mentorship program, small business development centers, women's business centers, and more. Not unlike a lot of the things we have on a skip, of course, free access to grants, funding, and a ton of other services, which is the fastest growing platform for small businesses and entrepreneurs in the country. Go create a free account if you haven't yet at tryskip.com, or download the Skip app, or use the link below. Whatever stage of business you're at, there are tools for you to help you start, to help you get funded, and to help you grow, including free grants, $10,000 grants every month, $1,000 grants several times every single week. That's at tryskip.com. And the number one thing the SBA helps with is access to funding. Outside of disaster EIDL loans, there's SBA 7A loans, the 504 program, and micro loans. SBA 7A, very popular among businesses. At least we see that at Skip. We have several SBA 7A partners. Those are loans up to $5 million. For example, if you can't get approved through a private lender or private bank, perhaps you'll get approved through the SBA 7A program, or you can get a micro loan up to $50,000. That's the spectrum of what's at stake here, as Kelly Loeffler looks like she'll be coming in to potentially mix things up. Now, will the SBA be asking for billions and billions of more money to help advance some of these programs? To do more education and training, or advocacy and representation, two of the five things I mentioned, I seriously doubt it. Given Trump's support of DOGE, the Department of Governmental Efficiency, the unofficial department led by Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, the administration will be looking to cut costs in as many departments as they can. So I don't think Kelly Loeffler is going to come in to try to balloon the department, but rather find efficiencies and get back to the core of what is most important with the SBA. How is it really helping small business owners? You know, I like the SBA. We've had folks on from the SBA on this channel sharing breaking news with you. We know the SBA was a lifeline for millions and millions of businesses during the pandemic. We also know that a lot of you are frustrated by all of that debt that you continue to carry, and are frankly not sure how you're going to ever repay this 30-year loan. Most of those will mature in 2050. I've said this before, we will be here in 2050 helping you along the way and beyond. Skip is not going anywhere. So I predict the SBA will not expand much. This might not be what you want to hear. Now let's talk about the SBA portfolio. This is the major piece right now, the millions and millions of loans that business owners have taken out, and they need to pay back the SBA or an authorized lender on behalf of the SBA. Look, the SBA just got approved for more disaster funding when they ran out of funding from hurricanes Milton and Helene. Now we have the wildfires in Southern California. I predict the SBA is going to continue to deplete the funding they have for disaster loans, which will bring up a bigger conversation about how to avoid those disasters in the future. That's a much bigger discussion involving FEMA, insurance agencies, policy decisions at the local and state level. But one thing is clear, the SBA, I believe, cannot continue to give out disaster loans at the rate it did in 2024. It's just unsustainable. So something's going to change there. Hopefully Kelly Loeffler will have some good policies, good ideas there. The second piece to end is on EIDL loans. Will the SBA try to do something about interest rates for people who still have COVID EIDL loans? The prevailing stance within the Republican Party is emphasizing fiscal responsibility, lowering expenditures. That perspective very evident in the whole student loan forgiveness initiatives that hit a brick wall under Biden. For some of the EIDL advances, remember those $10,000 grants and PPP loan forgiveness, there has been bipartisan support in the past, but when it comes to EIDL loans today, I don't think we're going to see major changes there. I think what we're going to see from Loeffler, if she's confirmed, and broadly speaking under the new administration, is a call for lowering costs and expenses, decreasing the burden on taxpayers. So the SBA's policies will likely reflect that. What do you think about all of that? Do you agree, disagree, have any other predictions? Thanks for subscribing, liking this video, and you can go check funding and grant resources yourself right now for free at tryskip.com. Most importantly, stay well, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next video.